Hey guys, let's take a look at some geometry today. The area of a triangle, lesson 79. FYI, Saxon does geometry right. They've known since like the early 1900s, over almost like 120 years, that teaching kids geometry as a separate year's course messes them up compared to kids who just take geometry as a part of math. And that's what geometry is, just part of math. Why in the world would we separate it into an entire different year? Now, if you notice, a lot of this geometry stuff is in there mixed in with Saxon. That is the right way to do it. Most nations around the world that are like advanced will teach geometry just as a part of math. For some reason in America, I have no idea why, we do it as a separate course. Don't. That's not a good idea. Saxon, the newer Saxon, by the way, has a geometry book. Best not to use it. Use the third editions, which integrate geometry into your Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and so on, and pre-algebra. You'll do much better. Okay, let's talk about the area of a triangle. This is the formula for the area of a triangle. It is 1/2 times the base. The base is like the flat bottom part of the triangle, right? Times the height. Now what will happen is usually you'll see this 1/2 base times the height. Okay, you don't have if you have numbers in algebra or whatever, you don't see anything between them like a plus or a minus. You just assume they're being multiplied. So 1/2 BH, that's the area of a triangle. All right, so you don't have to like memorize this or carry it around with you all the time. You can just look at a triangle, figure out what the base is, figure out what the height is, and then multiply them together. Now there's something strange about this. You might go, why is it at 1/2? Well, here's the reason. If you were to take a rectangle, and let's say it's that's a perfect rectangle. Oof, it's a warped rectangle. Okay, 10 is the base, let's say. All right, we know rectangles are length times the width. We'll just call it the base for our purposes. Okay, let's say this is 6 or something like that. Well, we know the area of the rectangle is 60, right? 6 times 10. Let's pretend though let's pretend this is a perfectly drawn rectangle. That's a big stretch there. And then oh my word, that's off. That's even worse. Okay, pretend both of those triangles are exactly the same and everything's written perfectly. Well, let's just say we're getting rid of this part, right? We could look at this and go, well, the base is still 10. The height of the triangle is still 6, right? But we know darn well that triangle is not 60, right? It's exactly half of that. And that's the magic, okay? You do exactly half, that's where this comes from. The base times the height. Now, it doesn't matter if you have a triangle that looks like this, like that, and it's 10, and then somebody says, oh, well, it's the height of that triangle is 6. Sometimes they'll go like this and put it inside of here. Sometimes they'll use dots like little kind of dashes like that. Well, it doesn't matter. The base of the triangle is 10. The height of the triangle is 6. But it's not going to be 60, right? Because if it were a rectangle, it'd be 60. In other words, if this part right here, that part right there, oh boy, that is awful. If that were an actual rectangle, the whole thing would be 60, right? But what you can do is, they've done this before, this part plus this part, if you were to do the outside dashed part, together those will equal exactly the same thing as the triangle that we're trying to find. So it doesn't matter what it looks like, don't get fooled. All you need is the base, that's the bottom. Now you might need to actually turn your book around and go, okay, the base is this and the height is, it's okay, do it. Base times the height, knocked in 2. Divide it right in half. So let's do a couple of these, all right? Find the area of this triangle. Well, this right now is impossible because there are no lengths to this. Okay, so let's find one. What number do you want me to put here for any number you want for the base? Just shout out any number. No, that's wrong. I'm gonna do 12 instead. Okay. How about, okay, I'll go ahead. Let's go ahead and give you what should the height of the triangle be? Any number less than 12. Go ahead. You said 4? Okay, great. No, it's 8. Okay. All right. Well, if this were a rectangle, of course, this would be 8 times 12 or 96. But it's not a rectangle, it's a triangle. So you're going to need to divide that by 2. That's going to be 48. Now here's a trick. You can do either one of two things. You can take this number, if you're going to go, okay, 8 times 12, and take the half of the whole thing, you can divide by 2. Or you can just go, okay, half of 8, that's going to be 4. I'll just do 4 times 12. That's the area of the triangle. That's 48. Or you could leave that alone and take half of this instead. In other words, that would be 8 times 6, right? Well, 8 times 6 happens to also be 48. Now, sometimes you're going to have an odd number, like let's say this were 5 or something like that. Well, you wouldn't want to go, okay, half of 5 is 2.5. Forget that. Just take half of this one. 5, that'd be 6. 5 times 6 is 30. Boom, there you go. That's it. That's all there is to it. Okay. All right. Find the area of this triangle. Well, we can't. Okay. Here's a little trick they'll pull on you sometimes. I'll make this real straightforward. And let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Let's say this is 7. They usually put a little arrow there, and like that. And then they'll say 8 right here. This side length right here is 8. Okay. All right. Well, that 8 isn't necessary, right? The formula is what's the base, what's the height, and then half of that, right? So what they're doing is they're trying to trick you and to say, oh, I need my 8. I'm going to multiply. No, you're not going to use the 8 at all. 8 is not the height. 8 is the length of this side. You don't care about that, okay? Doesn't matter. If that says 8, if that says pi, if that's a picture of your grandmother with sunglasses, right here, and she's, she's smoking a cigarette, it doesn't matter what's there, okay? We don't care. All right, all we care about is the base, and we're talking and the height, and that's it. Okay. Now look at this. You could go 70. 7 times 10 divided by 2 is 35. That's okay. Or what you could do is you could go, oh, half of 7 is 3. Forget that. I'm going to take half of 10. That's 5. 7 times 5, 35. Answer. Boom. There you go. That's all there is to it. Okay. All right. Let's try some practice problems, and you can just pause it, and let's do all 4 of them at once if you want. So go ahead and pause it and start going. Okay, let's go A. That's going to be 30. We don't care about the 7. Don't care about picture of grandma smoking a cigarette. Okay, all we care about is 6 times 10, 60, divided by 2, 30. You could have done 3 times 10, right? That's half of 6. That's 30. You could have also done 6 times 5. That's half of 10. 6 times 9, 30. Okay, B. We don't care about the 10. All we care about is the 6 times 8 divided by 2. You could have done 3 times 8, that's 24. Or you could have done 6 times half of 8, 4, 24. Okay, C, look at all this gobbledygook. What is this junk on that thing? Okay, forget it. 420. The reason is this thing is 56, and it's going to be times 15. We don't care about the 39 or the 25 and all that jazz. All I would do if I were you is just go 15 times 56, that's 840. Divide that by 2. Boom. There you go. Okay, last one, D. Man, that's a piece of junk, isn't it? Look at that thing. Well, don't get confused and look, oh no, it's looking. Forget it. You tell me, what is the base of that triangle? It's 5, right? Okay. What is the height of the triangle? 6. 5 times 6 is 30. But you divide it by 2. That's 15. That's all you got to do. Don't worry about the 11. Pictures of grandma. Whatever. Just do that part. Okay. All right. We have only today until we get to lesson 80. So, okay. You guys have a great day. See you next time.